Welcome, everybody. I'm so happy that today at Kathleen's interviews, we have Cindy Cisneros.
Cisneros.
Cisneros. We even practiced this.
Live is best.
Yes, live is best. And we've got a great time planned, not only for us talking, but maybe some samples that you can take a look at. Yeah. And we've never done that before. So it's going to be something exciting. Now, first of all, Cindy, tell us a little bit about your background, where you're from, how you got into your business creatively.
Yeah, that's a good question. Thanks, Kathleen. It's been a journey, and I feel like if you ask any entrepreneur that, they say that, it's been a journey. I started out studying psychology, and I, at the same time, was studying studio art. So my journey was really looking at both of those things together, and that's kind of informed everything else that I've done. So I got both of those degrees together and pursued a master's in counseling psychology. And because I had this interest in the arts and creativity, I decided to do write my thesis on kind of this intersection of psychology and creativity. And the results of that thesis have been the groundwork for how I have pursued working with clients for the past 15 plus years. I guess the time really flies.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome. And where are you
Yeah,
based out of?
I'm in Maryland. So if you're familiar with Maryland, there's kind of Baltimore and DC are the big kind of cities not too far apart, and I'm wedged right in the middle.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I have my son and his family live in Fallon, which isn't too
I'm
far
not
from
far
you.
away. Nope, nope, I'm
Yeah.
not far away at all.
So
It's beautiful.
I'm real excited about going out at Christmas time. The last time we came, which was the only time we've been out there, it was late summer.
It's
Uh,
much different in the winter.
yeah, yes. And
I
we're
would love for
excited for
our
it.
paths to cross. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it does happen.
Yeah.
So anyway, what is your, I know that you have tools to help people with their creativity.
Mhm.
And how do you determine what are what is a good fit for someone? Is it like questioning them, interviewing
Mhm.
them?
Yeah. When I got done with graduate school, because I guess this is kind of the best way to kind of build the framework around that question, because I finished with counseling psychology, I pursued a license in as a professional counselor first. So I spent some time in clinical psychology. I spent a long time in clinical psychology. And so a lot of the work that I do, I'm a licensed clinical therapist, but I'm also a certified creativity coach. So whether I'm wearing one hat or the other, a lot of the work that I do kind of has that framework of questioning the way that you would in a clinical setting. So, for example, one of the things that you do in a clinical setting is you have an initial consult with people who are interested in services, where you do something like this nowadays. Initially,
Uh-huh.
maybe it was on the phone or it would be in person, but you want to ask a lot of questions about where a person is and what their needs are, and you build the services and the tools that I have in my arsenal around that first interview.
And is it just people that are have known creativity, or can it be something like um, somebody who was in a serious problem or came back from Afghanistan, something
Yeah.
like that, but they were artistic? Do you help them?
Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of different ways that creativity has been conceptualized over time. And the way that I see creativity is as a personality type. So I see creativity as a type of person. And so
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't necessarily mean that you've chosen it as a career path, but it does mean I see you as a specific set of needs and kind of the way that you see the world. And this includes a lot of people. It includes many people. It includes most people as
Mm-hmm.
creative people. So I'm looking at things as we're fiercely independent, we're problem solvers, we're passionate, we're very authentic. And these are the people that I find myself most impactful working with, whether they're creative professionals, many are, or whether they're people who find that spending time doing things that are creative is very healing for them.
That's what I have found. I know I have a goddaughter and she has stage 4 cancer. She's had it for
Mm,
10 years and it's a
wow,
miracle that she's alive.
that is.
And she's not a writer, but I convinced her to start journaling.
Yeah.
And I believe that's part of the reason she's still alive because she's totally honest with herself and with God. And if she's mad at him, she lets him know. If she's worshiping him, she lets him know. And it brings a release. I've seen
Mm,
it with other people too who have, uh, like my one grandson, he's slightly autistic,
mm,
and creativity releases him.
mhm.
I mean, you give him Legos or anything like that, I mean, really detailed stuff, and
Yeah.
he will figure that out. And it, again, it gives him a release.
Yes.
Um, so I can see what a need there is for somebody in your career field to have. Everybody should have somebody like you in their toolbox.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so
Well,
much.
because not not everybody knows how to pull on that. And do you have any samples of anything that you work with, or maybe something that you offer for free to
Yeah.
some of prospective clients to find out if this is an avenue for them? If you
Yes,
do, you could share that. I would really
I would love
appreciate
to
it.
share that. Sure. Let me see if I can share my screen. I would love to show you. One of the things while I'm doing this, because I'm not in the techiest of generations, I'm a little cuspy in that way, so bear with me while I fiddle around, is I know there's a share button. There it is. Do share here. There we go. This is my
Okay.
website. Um, I have on all of my main socials are Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And my handle is Creatively LLC. So if you put that in any of those, you'll see my content come up. And I'm regularly talking about some of the things that I'm going to show you. So in any of those, there's a link tree that'll be a connecting point into some of the things that I'm going to show you. So if you're somebody who frequents any of those, that's an easy way to get in touch. But this is my website. And the main services that I have, Kathleen, is concierge therapy, which I could go on about. But essentially, the short answer about what concierge therapy is, I've been in mental health for a long time. And when you've been in a service for a long time, you see the areas that you want to improve. And so concierge therapy is my answer to fixing those things. And then coaching, and
Mhm.
that is the specifically for people who are trying to build or start in the arts. My answer to helping them. So, one of the things I want to highlight in coaching, I'm going to click on this creatives part here, is I have this free business basics. So, I have found for myself and for artists also, the basics that we need as creative people to become entrepreneurs are, especially today since the internet in the
Mhm.
90s, I suppose, are essential. But there's a lot of kind of tomfoolery out there between us and that information. And because we're creatives and artists, it's not necessarily intuitive for us on how to find it and wrapping our mind around it. It can be very frustrating. So I have a free business basics course where I've got how to write a business plan, how to do marketing, and how to do sales out for you. And I'm constantly adding resources and content so that you there shouldn't be a barrier for this information for creative people. So the links to get to that is here on my website. And there's videos and there's articles and there's downloads and there's templates and there's online community for you to kind of connect with each other and ask questions and help each other out. But there's also ways to connect with me if you're stuck and you need help. So that's here. This little button gets you to the business basics.
That
And then if
is just incredible. Go ahead. I'm sorry I
it's
didn't.
needed, right? No, please. I
Yes.
could talk because I'm passionate, so please cut me off.
No, no, it's this is something I try to do for writers, beginning writers, because I paid a lot of money and got
Yes.
nowhere. You know, just
Yes.
it's like somebody picked me up and I'm just running in air. Um, and I don't want that to happen to somebody else. There
Yes.
are things that people are unaware of. Like one of the things that just really struck me, and maybe it's because of my age, but you can pass down to your progeny, to your family, your talent. It not just I'm genetically, but physically. Like my books that I write can go to my children
Yep.
and they can profit from it for a minimum of 75 years. Now, there's ways that they can twist that to where it goes on even further, but it's just the fact that that is out there and most people don't know it.
Yep.
You don't have a clue.
Yep.
And to me, doing anything is not just for my own joy and my own release, but it's also to have a statement to pass down to through the generations that, hey,
Yes.
look at if she did it, you can do it too. And
Yeah.
so having something like this and having it available at the push of a button, oh my gosh, it's incredible. Thank you.
Sure. It's neat. You're right. There are so many scammy things out there. I've wasted money too. Oh, like get to your ideal customer in 2 easy steps, make your 6 figures in 1 year with our program, blah, blah, blah. Listen, the fundamentals of business have not changed. There's no
Yeah.
reason for these nonsense schemes. The fundamentals work. It
Hmm.
should be available at this point. It's not a magic wand. It's just learning the basics.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you've got to do the work. It doesn't matter what it is. Um, AI aside, you
Yeah.
still got to do the work because
Yeah.
if somebody is using AI out there as an author, they still got to edit
Yeah.
because the AI can go wild.
Yes.
uh,
Yes.
and I mean, that's what it's good for me. That's what it's good for. I use it just as a sounding block or a
Idea generator or,
uh-huh, yeah,
yeah.
exactly, exactly, because it's not meant uh to write for me.
Right.
That has to come
Exactly.
from me. Otherwise, I'm being robbed, and so are my readers.
Oh, that's beautiful. And that's so true.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. And you said something earlier, Kathleen, um, about the messaging that you said that you can do it. And you were talking about writers and you're talking about creatives that they can succeed in business. And I think that's such important messaging. And I think
Mhm.
that that's in the world, in the airwaves. It's so impoverished that messaging. It's not out there. We are swarmed with the messaging of like, why would you do that? You can't do that. You can't succeed in that. And to
Mm-hmm.
hear from people who have succeeded that this is possible, you just have to
Mm-hmm.
stick to it. You have to have the right mindset and you need to have the knowledge of how it's done. But it's absolutely possible. That messaging needs to be out there for
Yes, and
sure.
one of the things I was very fortunate, my I grew up in the 50s and 60s, and my father, during that time, women were not encouraged
Yeah,
to reinvent themselves, to do the impossible. And my father always said, the only thing that stands in your way is you.
I love that. Yeah.
You can, if you can conceive it and believe it, you can do it.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and you can take, like, as a writer, I can take samples of different science fiction that were written. Jules Verne,
Mm,
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Submarines were barely heard of
yeah.
and only came about because of the Civil War. And
I didn't know that. Hmm.
yeah, yeah. Well, I think some came a little bit before that, but I can remember monuments in the South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia area along the coast where they lost some submarines
Mm,
because of lack of air recycling, anything like that. But the
mm.
thing is that was when 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea came. And now look at what we've got. We've got nuclear submarines.
Yeah.
We've got ships that planes take off of,
Yeah.
and come back. And who knew? We've had people on the moon. We've got people in space. And again, Jules Verne, his imagination. So if somebody can imagine it, it can be.
Yes.
It just
And that
might not be the time, but it can be.
oh, the whole zeitgeist thing is a beautiful concept. But that this is a passion point of mine. And I think that our minds think very similarly about a lot of things, which is why I really enjoy you so much. But this is a passion point of mine, and why I'm so passionate about what I do is creative minds are needed. Without
Hmm.
creative minds, we are stuck, we are stagnant. The world needs creative people. So I think what keeps me going when the journey of entrepreneurship is hard and balancing everything is hard and the lift is heavy is that singular thing of like creative people are needed. They are what
Hmm.
keeps the world going forward. And so helping creative thinkers is a passion project for me.
I would say that creative people are the color in the world,
Yeah. Yeah.
because otherwise it's just a bland world. There's no excitement, there's no drama. There's, how can you know joy if you haven't known sadness?
Yeah.
How, how can you know a rose is red, pink, purple, white, or even black or blue?
Yeah.
I mean, that seems fictional that it would be blue, but there are,
Right.
and your life can be that way too. One of the biggest things I've found over the years is that people who are creative are so sensitive to negativity that they repeat, I'm never going to be like so and so. And their mind does, they don't understand that their mind doesn't grasp that.
Yeah.
What it hears is, I am going to be like that person.
Mm.
It takes out that negativity. It doesn't, our brain doesn't understand it. So when we, that's why I tell people that I've worked with in the past, if you want to be like somebody, if you don't want to be like somebody, find somebody who do and put their face up so that you can try to follow them instead of putting up somebody else's face and concentrating on them, and it's your nemesis.
I love what you said about the sensitivity that creative people have. With it's one of the personality characteristics. It's a hallmark, the passion and the sensitivity that creative people have. And I've always kind of thought of that as Mother Nature has given creative people the passion to express and reflect experiences so that everyone else can kind of see and understand things in a fresh, new, and meaningful way. But it can be having that depth of feeling and passion all day, every day can be a burden. It certainly can be a burden. It can be
Oh, yeah.
beautiful, but it can be a burden. And I think that's the necessary component that creative people need to be creating to continue to use and funnel and channel those powerful experiences and feelings. Because if you don't, you can, the burden of those experiences can really become negative and too heavy for us as creative
Yeah.
people.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think about the creative artists through history,
Mm-hmm.
like Van Gogh, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and cut off his ear. I mean, really?
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it's an action that is self-destructive without them even realizing what is going on.
Yes.
And it's so sad to see. I have friends and relatives that are so creative, but they won't touch anything anymore because they've been so wounded in other areas of their lives. It's like it's scabbed over, formed a scar with ketosis of inches thick that
Yes.
you have to cut through to get to. And it just breaks my heart to
Yes.
see all of that talent and joy hidden away. So I am so glad to know somebody like you
Well, thank you.
because you have the ability to draw that out. And
That's my
that's why,
passion.
yeah, and that's why I wanted to interview you. I wanted people that I know to get a chance to get to know you. So if they're in that spot, they have somebody to call. I
Please
might be
do.
too close to them to help them because
Mm-hmm.
we all know that sometimes your sister or your brother is not the person you need to talk to. You need to talk to somebody who's more objective and can see through all of the other stuff. And I believe you can. So I, ladies and gentlemen who are listening to this, know that she is a key, has a key to unlock your creativity. And you want to take advantage of that and get to know this young woman. I wanted to say young lady because really you are a young lady to me, but
Well, thank you. I turned 40 this year, so I appreciate that endorsement. It makes me feel good.
well, my daughter's 10 years older than you are. So,
Oh, amazing.
and, and my son is 7. So 7 years older.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
And I
great.
had my kids later in life than any of my siblings.
Oh,
I
same.
was 10 days after my daughter was born, I was 24. 10 days after my son was born, I was 27. So, they were 3 years apart, 2 different countries,
Wow.
2 years apart to the day, and born
Amazing.
in 2 different countries. So,
That's
but,
cool.
for mom to come and talk to them, that wouldn't help.
Yeah.
In fact, I might just put my foot in it and chew vigorously up to the knee.
That's what we do as moms.
Yeah, that's so true. Do you
Yeah.
have any advice that you could give anyone who is listening that is saying, this this sounds maybe for me? What would you say to them?
So I would say, prove me wrong. That's what I usually say to people is prove me wrong. This started for me. Remember, I said I did this thesis. So what this thesis proved is if you are a creative person, and it proved the results were like, if you've ever done a thesis, you have to present in front of professors and a committee of academics, right? And they're supposed to tell you, oh, we approve the thesis or we don't, and they're supposed to convene or whatever. The results of mine were so strong, they didn't convene. They just all were like, this is great. So I say that to say, not to pat myself on the back, but just to say that's how powerful the results were. That if you are a highly creative person or a creative person, when you do something that's creative, it improves your mood. It is necessary for creative people to do creative things to be healthy. So this was the fundamentals of everything that I'm doing. So I say, prove me wrong. Start out by doing something that's creative, anything. If you're a painter, it doesn't have to be painting. It could be cooking. It could be music. It could be anything. 15 minutes a day, 5 days a week, and do it for 2 weeks. And send me an email if it didn't work or if it did. But that's my recommendation is prove me wrong. I have yet for somebody to say it didn't work. And I've
Mm-hmm.
gotten many messages that they were surprised at at the revelations. So prove me wrong.
I can't agree more. Let
Yeah.
her challenge you. Accept her challenge. I should say, accept the challenge and heal yourself. Let her just kind of guide you along and find that healing that you need. You have high blood pressure, you have heart problems, they might just disappear.
It might.
Just maybe. It can't hurt. Now, Cindy, do you have something that you would like to leave with everybody before we close?
I would love to. I would imagine that many of your people are writers, as you are.
Mhm.
So I shared that my website. Now, the website is creativelyllc.com. If you go there, a little banner will pop up and it has a free therapeutic writing for beginners giveaway. So if you click on that, you get the download for free. It's a tutorial on, so if you wanted to use the challenge, for example, you could use that for a challenge. It'll walk you through on how to get started with writing, just as kind of getting some words out on paper, not for a writing project, but just in kind of a creative therapeutic outlet for your 15 minutes a day of creativity.
Thank you so much. That was really sweet of you.
My
Ladies and
pleasure.
gentlemen, I give a bow to Cindy for her talent and her caring. And I can't wait to meet her in December and have coffee.
I can't wait either. And thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Again, this is Kathleen's interview time. Thank you for listening and watching. Have a wonderful day and week. Go forth and prosper.